Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening and welcome to the program Hajj Day Today. It's our great honor and privilege to be here to continue this program talking about the Hajj pilgrimage and the importance of these first 10 days of the Islamic month of Dhul Hijjah. Tonight, this program is going to be focused on the fact that the Hajj pilgrimage is an opportunity for a new start. Not only for Muslims who have been Muslims for a decade or more, but especially we're going to focus tonight on the new reverts, those who have recently embraced Islam and are performing the Hajj pilgrimage. We will talk about such historic figures as Malcolm X from the United States, who performed the Hajj and completely changed his life. So we're going to be talking about this. We're joined by two guests. These are brothers who work with the Conveying Islamic Message Society. We'll start with brother engineer Mahmoud Hegezi. He is the director for the communications department and a board member for CIMS. Assalamu alaikum and welcome.
Wa alaikum assalam, brother. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for inviting me.
Very nice to sit with you as always.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Same here.
All right. And also we're joined by Dr. Mahmoud Abdurrahman. Also, is it correct you're still a board member of the Conveying Islamic Message Society?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us and welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right. So, as we said, we're going to be focusing on how the Hajj pilgrimage, especially in the life of a new Muslim,
Yes.
is a way of transforming people's lives. I mean, because taking the Shahada is one, I mean, when you learn the Islamic religion, change your habits, learn about the history of humanity, all these things that we learn as new Muslims, but then to perform the Hajj pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Brother Mahmoud, please talk about the impact of the Hajj pilgrimage on new reverts.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. It is like we were just talking a while ago, the impact of the Hajj pilgrimage and the journey of Hajj actually on new Muslims is quite amazing. And I have seen some of the brothers when I lived back in the States who have taken their first journey to Hajj, you know, and they've just reverted to Islam like a year or less than a year. And they went. Not only they were amazed, they were baffled. You know, they were taken by how spiritual and how amazing the journey was. You know, when they went to Mecca and to the Kaaba, and they saw there's so many thousands, hundreds of thousands of Muslims from all different races and colors and ethnic backgrounds, and how they all came together. You know. How they all, you know, it looked to them, and some of the people actually I had the pleasure of speaking with, and they shared their experience with me when they came back, and they said it was amazing in a sense that they could not believe that actually people from all walks of life, from all corners of the earth, they all came together, and they all looked so happy, so peaceful, you know, so thrilled to be there. And to discover, you know, how to go through the whole journey, and when it all starts there, and it is so refreshing to them and so inspiring, you know, and they said that we felt, you know, in an instant that we were so close to God, you know, and then it's like we were invited to go there, you know, and it's a chance for us. We looked back at our days when we were, you know, non-Muslims, you know, and it's a chance for us, you know, this invitation to cleanse, you know, ourselves, you know, inside and outside, and actually to come closer to God, and to feel actually the beautiful, you know, religion in and out, you know, and it's really, you know, very, very inspiring to hear that, you know, that people actually were given the chance to go to the most sacred, you know, spot on earth, and to you know, to discover all these, you know, beautiful things in such a journey that it's life transforming to them. You know, and they came back with so many memories and so many, you know, they met so many people, they made so many friendships, you know, they were able to come very close, you know, to not only revealing, but praying to God and making dua, and it was amazing because they said we look forward to go every year, go back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And in the introduction, I mentioned one historic figure, Malcolm X, but there are many. But to use his example, I mean, he was coming out of a United States that was still a segregated society. It was a time of the American apartheid, where there were separate facilities, hospitals, schools, restaurants, hotels. Every institution, every facility was segregated between black and white. He's coming out of this, struggling to gain the rights of African Americans, and he sits next to people who look like his oppressors in the United States.
Exactly.
But they treat him entirely different.
Yeah.
It blew him away and it transformed his life.
This was the turning point actually for him, because I followed actually when I went to the States in the early 80s, and I'd learned so much about with the Nation of Islam and Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X, and it was so fascinating actually to learn about the turning point in his life, which was in Hajj. He was amazed actually, because it took him quite a while during the Hajj journey itself to come together, to come to terms with the fact that he's praying and he's making salah right next to this white guy, who resembles actually the oppressor in the United States.
Yeah.
And this guy actually, without even knowing Malcolm X, he hugs him, he embraces him, he kisses him, and he wishes nothing but good for him.
Right.
And in fact, he extends his hand with a glass of water. He gives him something to eat. He invites him to his tent, to his place. So this guy is asking.
And he's not praying in the section for coloreds or blacks. They're praying side by side.
They were all praying together.
Right.
And he kept questioning actually. And in fact, he kept asking many scholars during that Hajj trip. Is this what Islam is all about? Is this for real?
Yeah.
Does Islam really encourage people to come all together from all and they all told him the same thing. So again, he re-examined, the situation back in the United States. Then obviously that I must have been doing something wrong.
Right.
I must have been given a wrong, information about the religion of Islam.
Up until that point, it was all he knew.
Exactly.
As far as he knew, this was human existence.
Exactly.
And so it was...
and not only that, brother, after he finished that journey, and it transformed totally his life, before he went back to the States, he went to Egypt. He came here. He came to Egypt, and he spent a few days in Egypt. And again, the exact same scenario happened, He was invited by Egyptians who looked fairly, light-skinned, and from, a different background altogether. People who never met him before, and yet all of a sudden they told him, "You're our brother," and this is we're so happy and we're so honored for you to be here.
He said when he did go back to the press briefing, when he reached the United States at the end of his trip, he said, "Perhaps Islam is the solution to all these race problems in the United States."
Absolutely.
Right? Dr. Muhammad, we want to bring you into the conversation.
Yes, sir.
We want to focus on answering the question, what is it about the Hajj pilgrimage? We just talked about some very important aspects of it. Is there something else that makes such a deep impact on people? I mean, for Malcolm X, in this example, it was a race relations. That was his thing.
Exactly.
What distinguishes the Hajj from other, like the daily prayers and other aspects of Islam?
No, I see. Well, thank you. Actually, Hajj, since starts from the first day, it gives you a deep idea about the simple discipline in Islam. We are not backward, that they say. Since we put the people together in these large numbers and put them on lines in an uninterrupted way, nobody will do a mistake and sit the other direction or the other against the Qibla or so. Actually, I'm talking about the new Muslims. They will automatically notice that the discipline represented by the Islamic way of putting things in its place, if we can say, is so much. We in our normal life, we might not be as good as the Americans in this aspect. Things are scattered a little bit, but this is another subject, another research.
Right.
But when it comes to Islam itself, we actually have this advantage for 14 centuries now.
Right.
And this is the first quick point I can make on what other aspects of greatness in this journey. They come on a certain time. They stay in certain places at certain times.
Yes.
And precisely to the point that they leave a place in Arafah to Muzdalifah. That's the second point, the second station. At a certain point after Salat al-Asr. And they go all in the same. I performed Hajj myself.
Yes.
And I'm calling my memories on it. And then those things cannot go like that. The new Muslims from the United States or any other place, they should notice that those guys are highly programmed. There's no scattered procedure like, this, I do that, let's speak, let's discuss. No. It's set up like this by Prophet Muhammad himself. So that's another thing. The third thing is, when you go to Mecca, you notice also that the Muslims are eating in a certain discipline. Their food goes in a certain discipline. You cannot eat certain things. You eat certain foods rather than, so that
Digestive system? Or?
Yeah, this thing is also taken care of, on drinking, washing. There's a real book with all those things explained in details. And my point is, since the details are available, this means that Islam is not leaving anything. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, since his time, 14 centuries ago,
Yes.
he did it the same way. And he said, you do it the way I did it.
All right.
And this has been done all this long time.
So you're saying that the thing that is impactful for people is when they get there, they see the mass movement of hundreds of thousands, millions of people.
Millions, yeah.
Organized, united together, in unity, looking the same, doing the same things, saying the same things, moving from place to place over a period, is it 3 or 4 days?
Yeah.
Right? And the level of organization and is just one aspect of it. Doctor, dear brothers, we are ready for our first report. We will come back to continue our conversation. We have a report here on Malcolm X, who we were just talking about. We'll come back and continue after the report.
Malcolm, on your trip abroad, you said you sensed a feeling of great brotherhood, and that conceivably you would be working toward integration in this country now. At least this is what your report said. Have you any comment on it?
I don't think that I ever mentioned anything about working toward integration. I pointed out that while I was at Mecca making the pilgrimage, I spoke about the brotherhood that existed at all levels and among all people who were there on that Hajj, who had accepted the religion of Islam. And I pointed out that for what it had done, what the religion of Islam had done for those people over there, despite their complexion differences, that it would probably do America well to study the religion of Islam, and perhaps it could drive some of the racism from this society as it has driven racism from the Muslim society.
Drive is
aiming for this goal?
Well, I can't say that the current integration drive is aiming for that goal because it hasn't realized the goal in any state. They haven't even got integration right here in New York City. You have worse integration problems in the North than they have in the South. So if it doesn't work if you can't bring about integration in New York City as international, cosmopolitan, up-to-date as it's supposed to be, you will never get integration anywhere else in the country.
Malcolm, have your experiences with white-skinned Muslims in Africa and the Middle East made you feel that relations between Negroes and whites who are not Muslims is any more possible?
When I was on the pilgrimage, I had close contact with Muslims whose skin would in America be classified as white, and with Muslims who themselves would be classified as white in America. But these particular Muslims didn't call themselves white. They looked upon themselves as human beings, as part of the human family, and therefore they looked upon all other segments of the human family as part of that same family.
Well,
now, they had a different look or a different air or a different attitude than that which is reflected in the attitude of the man in America who calls himself white. So I said that if Islam had done that for them, perhaps if the white man in America would study Islam, perhaps it could do the same thing for him.
I think what a lot of people are interested in, Malcolm, is whether this experience has made you feel that your feelings have changed, that the animosity you have expressed in the past toward all whites.
There's one thing that I want to make clear. No matter how much respect, no matter how much recognition whites show toward me, as far as I'm concerned, as long as that same respect and recognition is not shown toward every one of our people in this country, it doesn't exist for me.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Hajj Day Today. That was a report, an interview of, he changed his name after the Hajj to Al-Hajj Malik Al-Shabazz, formerly Malcolm X, just after he had returned from performing the Hajj pilgrimage. And he was making a distinction between integration and true equality in the United States. So we appreciate all of his efforts. He joined Sunni Islam, of course, and left the Nation of Islam. Yeah. We want to go back to the Hajj and look at Dr. Muhammad. What is especially powerful, meaningful for this pilgrimage and important for them that can bring about the kinds of change that we just heard about?
Well, I believe that the spiritual circulation, let me say, inside the human during the Hajj is actually turning a person performing Hajj to another state of mind and peace of mind. Of course, alhamdulillah, you're a Muslim and you have been through that. You feel a great peace of mind during the Hajj. Did you perform Hajj?
I have not performed Hajj or Umrah, not yet.
Oh, not yet? Inshallah, I will do it. I will see. Now, actually, starting from the point of Al-Baytul Haram, which is Mecca, the Kaaba building, when you come from the bus or the taxi or whatever, and they enter Mecca, then you see that thing for the first time.
The Kaaba.
Oh, it's a very particular moment. Many places you see with a speciality, special places, very special.
Yeah.
It doesn't make that impact on you. And everybody at this point of seeing Kaaba for the first time was impressed, like the brother said now.
There are many beautiful still shots, photographs, video of the Kaaba and the Grand Mosque. But you're saying when people are standing?
When you see and go to the bus in that street and see Kaaba with your eyes.
With your eyes.
For the first time. It's a special moment. Everybody been through that said that it's a very special moment. Some people cried,
Yeah.
and they couldn't take that. And then this is one thing I can say, answering your good question.
Yes.
And number two is when you go to Maqam Ibrahim, I assume that the Muslim who goes Hajj for the first time knows the story of Abraham, alayhi salam.
And how he brought his son Ishmael, peace be upon them, to Mecca,
and built the house in its first form.
Okay, yeah.
You know what? And if you know that story, it will make more impact on you, because this place is one of the oldest places in the world.
Okay.
And also the other parts of the spiritual related parts of the story, that this house, Kaaba, is just under vertically. This is what in the hadith, spiritual sources. I'm not talking as a geologist or geographic. No.
Spiritually.
Spiritually.
The Kaaba is directly...
Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that the Kaaba is located in a way related to the Arsh of Allah.
The throne.
Yes. You know what? The throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is directly under it. And also one notice, I noticed that many people, millions of people noticed the birds in Kaaba.
Yes.
Are so large numbers, birds in Kaaba.
Birds,
They don't go above the Kaaba. Yeah, they don't fly.
Go around it, but
around
never fly
it in
over
any
it.
direction, but not above it.
All right.
Directly.
Doctor, I'm sorry, we're ready for our first phone call. We have, sorry for my earpiece, Sister Susan. She is an American sister. She is a Muslim. I understand that she's currently in Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum to you, Sister Susan.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you, brother?
Very fine. Thank you for joining us. We're talking about Hajj. Can you describe for us your first Hajj and what your feelings and your thoughts were leaving the United States and, going? Did you leave from the United States?
No, I was actually I was living in Saudi Arabia at the time.
Okay.
And so I was able to make it within Saudi.
All right.
So it was close to home. But the experience was, I feel when I talk to people from different races and different paths, I think we many times go to Hajj with a preconceived notion of what we think it's going to be. And I think for me it was seeing Islam as probably the most diverse religion I've ever seen. And to see the beauty of all these colors and different types of people with so many different languages, and young and old and frail and sick and healthy. It was an amazing experience.
Susan,
and I always went back to the Malcolm X movie when he made Hajj, and just to see all those races come together and the equality was very moving to me.
I want to ask you, when did you become a Muslim?
I have been Muslim since about 1995, so almost 20 years now.
Okay. All right. Well, we're very glad that you have embraced Islam. What was it? Did the Hajj play a role in you embracing Islam, or was it something else?
No, it was something else, and I didn't even, know about Hajj. I'd never seen on the TV the Kaaba. I didn't really realize this was a pillar of Islam until I started to study Islam.
I see.
Yeah, that was not the reason that I became Muslim. It was more the Tawheed and the oneness of Allah. But I'm very thankful to have, completed my pillar of Islam.
Yes.
And I think I came away with it of an understanding of how dedicated Muslims really are to fulfill this pillar. Like I said, whether they're sick and old and frail, whatever, you have people coming from the ends of the earth to perform this duty to Allah.
Yes, yes.
So we take for granted our health and, you know, how these people really travel and suffer to perform this duty. And I'm thankful that I was able to do it while I had health.
I want to go back to your Hajj experience. As you performed and you went from each, can we say, station, from Mecca to Mina to Arafat to all the different locations, what did you have? I want to know, I don't want to ask a leading question, but you know, this is a very historic place. There are some of the greatest prophets in history. For example, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, constructed the Holy Kaaba. Did you feel, or did that play a role in your experience, knowing that you were in the exact place where these historic prophets had
Yes,
worked?
it did, but it was also, you know, Hajj is very busy, and there's a lot of hustle and bustle and a lot of people, and you got to move fast, and, you know, the traffic and the people and the crowds. So sometimes you get so caught up in getting to the next stop and, you know, not getting trampled and, you know, keeping your Hajj without getting angry. It's hard sometimes, and I was confused quite a bit on what I need to do, and we're going here next. So I feel like I'd love to make Hajj again, because that was just like an introduction.
Yeah.
Now, since you kind of know what to expect, I feel like if I was able, inshallah, the second Hajj would be a little more spiritual for me.
Yeah.
Because with such a large number of people, you're just trying to make it through sometimes.
Yeah.
And I felt like I didn't have the time and the khushua in my ibadah to concentrate and take in all the beauty of every ritual I was making. So I hope to be able to go again and appreciate and be able to just sit and think and contemplate on Hajj itself and each station and each ritual.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the history behind it.
I very much can relate to that experience. Even for me, as a new Muslim, it's been less than 3 years for me. When I was learning to pray, I was focused on the technicalities and what to do with my body and what to say. And then later, the spiritual came. So we hope, inshallah, you can take a second Hajj pilgrimage. One last question for you, Sister Susan.
Yes, brother.
The greatest impact that you left when it was all said and done, when you left and went back home, what was the thing that lasted with you, the most impactful?
Was it the day of Arafah? I wanted to ask her.
Yeah, I think the day of Arafat was probably the day that I had the most time just to sit and make dua and dhikr, because that was like one day without so much. You get to your tent and you're able to actually sit down and you know, you're not moving around for a little while.
Yeah.
But I think leaving Hajj, I felt that, subhanAllah, Muslims are just, you know, coming from a Christian background and traveling the world and seeing all different kinds of religion. MashaAllah, Allah has given us just such dedication to our ibadah that I left there thinking, wow, Muslims are amazing people. And we will go to ends of the earth for our deen and to fulfill our obligations, to fulfill our pillars. And I felt impressed. And I don't know, for lack of better words, I felt proud at that moment and chosen from Allah to be a Muslim with these group of strong people that are coming to fulfill this pillar. And it's difficult. It's difficult for many.
Yeah.
And I just felt happy to be a part of that group. And, you know, it was just motivating to see so many people from so far away. Some people were coming on, you know, ships that traveled a month to get to Saudi Arabia to be there when Hajj began.
Yeah.
And I just thought, subhanAllah, I am one of those. I am chosen from Allah to be in this group of dedicated people. And it just made me feel good about the Muslims, that we don't let our rituals and ibadah that we need to do, we don't leave them behind. They're a priority for us. And these people were going to make Hajj, you know, no matter what.
Okay.
So I felt there just leaving that I am part of a ummah and a deen that Allah has chosen, and I feel special.
All right. Sister Susan, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, to share your Hajj experience. Salam alaikum to you. We hope to be in touch with you in the future.
Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair.
All right. So she was talking about her experience and the day of Arafah. You guessed. Why did you know that she was going to say that?
You know why? Because actually we have an authentic hadith from the beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And he says, the hadith is only 2 words. It says, Al-Hajj Arafah. Pilgrimage is Arafah. So basically, the epitome of the whole pilgrimage actually is in that specific day.
Okay.
Why? Because in that specific day, actually, just like the sister said, you relinquish everything, you know? You leave everything behind, and you stand on that mount of Arafah, and you feel that you're ready actually to cleanse yourself, you know? You're ready to tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala everything. You're ready to ask Him for forgiveness. And this is why the beloved Prophet says, actually, in the authentic hadith, that there is no reward, you know, for an accepted Hajj from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except Jannah, except paradise, except heaven. Then we go back from this trip, back to our homes, like as if we were just born, sinless, you know, pure and clean.
Yeah.
So and it all actually takes place during that specific day on Arafah, on the Mount of Arafah, where you see millions. Actually, this is a scene like unlike to any other on earth in human history. You know, that day when 3 or 4 million people actually come together, stand on the huge plains of Arafah, you know, and they're all raising their hands, you know, and making supplication, making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive their sins.
Very powerful.
Moving, powerful, you name it, you know.
So this occurs, the day of Arafat occurs on the 11th Hadashir of Dhul Hijjah?
The 9th.
The 9th, okay.
The 9th, yes.
All right, and...
which is the day, we call it in Arabic al-Waqfa, which is the day actually we stand on Arafah. Okay? And the next day, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, is the feast. Is the festival itself,
okay.
You know.
And is it true, Doctor, that this is the day of Arafat, is a day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perfected the Islamic religion? Is that true?
Yeah, because of the verse in the Quran, اليوم أتممت لكم دينكم
أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم
نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. So the interpretation of this verse may mean that the day of Arafah is what you said.
Yeah,
that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put together Islam in that particular day in all kinds of aspects. And you know, if you go into some analysis in this and that and all this stuff, if you go through the experience, inshallah, next year,
yeah, thank you. So what I'm hearing, 2 things that I'm hearing, that when we arrive, we can expect that seeing the Kaaba with our own eyes will be the most impactful moment.
Oh, yes.
And then the day of Arafah will be the most life-changing, the actual internalizing, the renewal, the spiritual renewal. Is that what should we expect?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Especially the day of Arafah, you will be talking directly to, you normally speak in Islam to your Lord.
Yes.
You don't talk to nobody else. You Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I saw many people on the mount crying.
Yeah.
Getting excited, either because they are happy or they are feeling guilty of something. And everybody is getting whatever he's got inside him according to his own experience and you know, his own lifestyle. And normally the people get out of this place, even the harshest cases, with a great intention. You can see in their eyes and in their behavior 3 days after Arafah, actually 3 days in Mina, you know, down the mountain, you will be sitting, throwing stones on the devil, you know.
Muzdalifah?
Muzdalifah is the one in the beginning. After Arafah, you go to Muzdalifah. And then from Muzdalifah, after you finish Muzdalifah, you go to Mina. Mina is you are supposed to stay 3 days,
In Mina,
but you can stay 1 day also.
How long do you stand on Arafat?
1 day.
1 day from
From Fajr
uh-huh.
to Asr.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And then you make all dua. So you'll find everybody in that day just making dua deeply from heart. And the people with, problems or so will be crying and asking. You wouldn't even see you if you pass by him.
Sometimes, for me, from day to day, I have very sweet salats.
Alhamdulillah.
I can't say it's a very rare thing, and when it comes, it's almost like it's out of my control. It's by Allah's decree. But when it comes, I feel a sweet connection. But then I have to finish and go back to work or whatever, right? But with this day, there's no cell phones, there's no work obligations, no family. You're free to connect with Allah, and so I can imagine. You're helping me imagine what it will be like. Yeah.
Oh, well, do you want me to comment on what you said? It's similar in a way to Salat al-Layl, night prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Night prayer, and it's specific. Nobody can see you. You have to be just alone with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And wake up yourself. Nobody wakes you up.
Yeah.
You just wake up for the night, tahajjud, what they call it. Tahajjud. Are you familiar with the word tahajjud? Yeah, the tahajjud at night, you wake up. Nobody sees what you're doing, and you pray and cry and read Quran and discuss your own weaknesses and shortcomings, honestly and without any, with Allah. Then this Salat al-Layl reminds me, in a way, the whole mass of Muslims in Arafah doing the same, but in a congregational way.
With more than more than 2 million people.
2 million people, yes. So actually, that kind of ikhlas, sincerity, great sincerity, dedication. A Muslim will touch his own heart at that day. And also it will apply to a Muslim who will touch his own heart by the night prayer. These two. But there are other situations where the Muslims will touch his own heart. The books of hadith are full of hadith, makes your heart, not only your tongue or your intention, which is very good, but your heart must be in that conversation. That you need to.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good. Brother Mahmoud, I want to ask you a question. We know that you've been with us a few times as a researcher into prophetic medicine and natural remedies. I want to ask you the impact of Hajj on human health. Can you talk about this? I mean, when we coming from the U.S., we have retreats. Even church communities, maybe they'll go away for 3 days or so to get a different perspective on life and focus on whatever, something good, and then go back recharged. And even I've, in recent years, heard about some psychological therapies where people will be taken with their doctors on camping trips, surrounded by nature and trees and the sounds of nature and all this. I want to ask you the impact on human health, the Hajj pilgrimage.
Yes, it's tremendous. Actually, it's unbelievable because simply this is a very well-known fact to medical scientists throughout the world, that once you discover your inner peace, you recharge your inner peace, you achieve this inner peace, then you're automatically attaining this positive state of mind, which can be actually realized to the fullest during this Hajj trip, and you ask any Hajj after the journey of Hajj coming back to their own country, how do you feel? He tells you that I have this inner peace. I feel so relaxed, so peaceful. Now, what does that mean in terms of health? It means that when you ask any medical doctor, they tell you that this is automatically translates into boosting one's immune system to the highest level possible. You know. Now, so now you're doing you're doing this pillar of Islam. While you're doing that, you're achieving this inner peace. You're feeling tranquil. You're feeling happy. You're feeling peaceful. You're feeling relaxed. That itself translates into improving your immune system.
Yes.
And obviously your position, your ability to fight off any potential disease.
Right.
You know? This is something which cannot be actually achieved otherwise. You know?
Brother, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We'll come back in just a second.
No
we
problem.
have a second phone call. We're joined now by Dr. Mohammed Saeed. Assalamu alaikum and welcome, Dr. Mohammed.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you feeling, brothers? And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your night. First of all, I would like to welcome Dr. Muhammad Abdul Rahman and Brother Mahmoud Hijazi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all what you are doing. Subhanallah, I have 2 points to add, and then I will give the phone to my brother here with me, Brother Abdullah Muslim. He accepted Islam and he offered Hajj a long time ago. So I will just add my own reflections and then I will leave the phone for him. First of all, I think that the first impression that comes to a new Muslim when he visits Mecca, that he finds an echo of an old and deep call that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made for him long time ago. So it is, he finds the echo in his heart and in himself as if he is coming to his home, or as if he is seeing something that he saw long time ago. So it is something which I'm sure that it is shared by everybody. Number two, for a new Muslim, it transcends. It actually moves him from theory to practice. The sense of he hears about Islam, he reads about Islam, he reads the biography of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he did not see the Kaaba. He did not see the relics and the historical places in Mecca. He did not go to Arafah and to Muzdalifah. So in every single step that he takes and in every single walk that he makes on that blessed journey, he has a deep feeling of the sacrifices that a Prophet and his companions did, how Islam was made, how Islam was spread. So it becomes more engraved in his heart, and it has everlasting impression in his mind. So it moves to what you can call a reinforcement of his iman, an increase. When he moves from just reading about Islam and it just the theory or the theoretical framework into something which is practical, something that he visions. He, as if he looks at the steps of the Sahaba, the steps of the Prophet ﷺ in those blessed places. So it definitely leads to a reinforcement of his iman. This is just my reflection, and if you allow me, my brother, to give the phone to Brother Abdullah Muslim, because he made actually Hajj in 1987. So he can actually give us his own impression about Hajj, inshallah.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Mohammed. Brother Abdullah, are you with us? Assalamu alaikum, Brother Abdullah. Abdullah Muslim?
Yes.
All right, welcome to Hajj Day today. Please share with us your Hajj experience.
Okay, my Hajj experience. I went to Hajj for the first time in 1987. And let me go back a little. I accepted Islam in 1969. I made Umrah in January '87, and I went on Hajj in July 1987. At the time that I went on Hajj, it was the first time that they had 1 million people to attend Hajj. At least this is what I was told. And what happened was, I went there looking for, as Allah said, when I read what I read in Tafsir, come to Hajj and see what I have for you to learn. So I went on Hajj trying to see what Allah had for me to learn. And one of the things that I saw was the universality of the human family.
Okay.
But the thing that really affected me, or one of the things that affected me, is the fact that everyone, at least in the areas where I was at, was very conscientious. You know, when you have that many people interacting with one another, there's bound to be some type of, like people stepping on one another's feet, pushing one another, shoving, and these things do take place, but it was not prevalent. It's not like there was more order there than there is at a football game.
Okay.
Or a soccer match.
Yes.
There was more kindness that I witnessed, more courtesy that I witnessed than there was at, just a basketball game in New York City when people are coming or going. There was more, and I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's perfect that nobody pushes, nobody shoves, because we do have those things, but overall, for the numbers of people that were there, this is not something that was prevalent for the number of people that I observed there. Now, one of the things also is that I was there and I dressed, I put on my ihram, and I had purchased some shoes that had cut my toe. They had sliced my toe. They were, slippers, but they were poorly made. And they had sliced my toe, and I was on the plain of Arafat, and it was very hot. And I'm coming back from the Jebel Rahma, and what happened was I had, I was sweaty. I had my bag with me. I had everything with me, and I'm walking, and I'm saying, I'm suffering, and I'm saying, oh Allah, I need your help. Oh Allah, please give me your help.
Yes.
And I'm walking, and I walked about maybe 30 seconds more, and I heard a voice say, Abdullah Muslim. Now remember, I just got through asking Allah to give me help.
Yeah.
Just got through asking. And I heard a voice, Abdullah Muslim. So I turned around to see who it was. I heard a voice. I turn around, I look. I don't see anyone. So I walk a little bit further, and I hear the voice again, Abdullah Muslim. Now, you have to understand, it was very hot, and I thought, maybe the heat, I'm getting ready to suffer from heat stroke. Something's getting ready, and I'm going to faint, anything. And I walked a little bit further, and the voice again said, Abdullah Muslim, don't ignore me. So I turned around. It was a friend of mine, someone that I had met once in my lifetime.
Hey, Brother Abdullah, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. We're running out of time. The program will be ending in about 3 minutes. If you could hasten your comments.
I'll summarize in 10 seconds.
Okay.
Allah sent me the help I needed.
Okay. All right. Well, Brother Abdullah Muslim, thank you, as well as Dr. Muhammad Saeed. They had some very good points. They're talking about that the Hajj, and it's a very good point, is answering Allah's call. And it comes from a very, very deep place. And also, he said that this helps us to see how, doing the rituals, helps us to see how Islam was constructed. And then the unity, the intimacy that Brother Abdullah talked about, that he experienced. We were talking before the phone call about, we have another phone call? Okay. Please continue. Before the phone call, you were telling us about the benefits, the health benefits of performing Hajj.
Actually, the two benefits. One, like I said, was achieving this inner peace, which translates into boosting your immune system. This is a very basic theory when it comes to medical science.
Yes.
The second thing is that we have the chance to drink this Zamzam water.
Zamzam.
Yeah, this Zamzam water, actually, which is one of the purest forms of water on earth.
Yes.
Okay, and the impact it has by actually following the prophetic sunnah of the beloved Prophet ﷺ, says that the Zamzam water is what it's used for, what it's drank for. So you drink it with the intention when you make dua that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I personally made dua. I had this, chronic, and I've mentioned this in previous episodes, a lower back problem. And I've right before I drank, I prayed to God, please, grant me cure for my back problem. And he sure did, So it is literally transformed into a healing water when you drink it.
All right. So we have two: the physical, the Zamzam, and the emotional, spiritual.
Exactly.
Being there.
Yes.
We have one more phone call. This is Sister Layla Rodriguez. Assalamu alaikum and welcome. Hello, Sister Layla.
Yes, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you for calling us. I'm sorry to put you under such pressure. We've got about, we're running out of time. Please talk to us about what you're doing in your community, and have you performed the Hajj?
Actually, I have not performed the Hajj yet.
Okay.
But inshallah, I plan to. I know that, as a revert, there's so many factors that play into going to Hajj and planning for it. So it's just, not that easy as a Muslim, as a revert. And I think that a lot of new Muslims face that today.
Yeah. So how long? When did you take Shahada?
It's been 13 years, alhamdulillah. It's been 13 years. Learning about Hajj and Umrah, I think as a revert, I get the impression that it's just very scary. Okay. Because you deal with you're faced with, first of all, the expenses, and then on top of that, you have so many elements that you must learn, before going to Hajj. And I think that it's important and significant for Muslims, not only reverts, but also born and raised Muslims, to learn that it's something significant. Prophet Muhammad in his final sermon, he told his followers that, he may not perform Hajj again. So and he performed it one time in his lifetime. Yeah. So I think that Muslims today, including reverts, Muslims in general, kind of take it like, oh yeah, I'm going to Hajj, this year. Oh yeah, I'm going to Umrah, next year, and we missed the point that it's something significant and important. First of all, it's an obligation, and second, I think that we have to learn the steps, in doing Hajj or Umrah,
Sister
so that
Layla,
we can get the most out of it.
Sister Layla, I like I said, I'm very sorry. We don't have, we've run out of time. The program, we've reached the end of the program, but we're very glad that we had.
I know.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. But thank you so much for calling us. We're very glad to hear from you. We know that you're active in your community in New Jersey, in the United States. We wish you every success. Salaam alaikum to you, Sister Layla. Thank you again for calling. Brothers, we've run out of time.
Okay.
So we will say thank you for joining us, Dr. Muhammad and Brother Mahmoud, for being with us, talking about the impact of Hajj on new reverts to Islam.
We wish we had more time.
Thank you.
As far as I'm quite sure the same for him, Dr. Mahmoud.
Thank you.
But for me, I wish it was longer time than this because there are many wonderful things.
You know, had we had more time, I wish Brother Muhammad would have explained if Sheikh Yusuf Estes actually, who through the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, and through the efforts of Brother Muhammad, Sheikh Yusuf has embraced Islam. Had Sheikh Yusuf Estes, performed Hajj or not, maybe this would be in a different episode, inshallah.
We know that Sheikh Yusuf took the Shahada because of your influence.
He gave him the Shahada.
He was a good man. His father was the same.
All right.
So that's why Allah gave him the link.
We have reached the end of today's program. Thank you so much. We're very sorry to rush like this, but we are very limited. This is a 1-hour program. We, inshallah, will continue with Hajj Day today, tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you again for being with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.